up, guys? Welcome back to the Old Guy YouTube channel, and welcome back to my 1974 Honda MT250 restoration. Today I am working on the exhaust pipe, or should I say exhaust pipes, because I have two here. So here's the deal. This is the exhaust pipe that came with the bike, and this is the exhaust pipe that came extra with the bike, not on the bike. The guy that I bought the bike from planned on restoring it, so he bought this exhaust pipe, which as you can see has the spark arrestor here. And as you can see, this one does not have the spark arrestor. That is why he bought this one. There are definitely some differences with these two. As you can see, this cover here has been painted black. It should be chrome. It looks like the whole thing has been painted black, actually. This one looks like the original paint, which actually isn't in too bad of shape. So I could just swap the spark arrestor from this one into that one, but I think I'm going to go with this one, and here's why. This one has the spark arrestor, a lot more complete. This one actually doesn't look so bad, surprisingly, and it also has the rubber mount, which I'm going to take off of this one and put on this one. Here's the model number. It says Honda Krisman spark arrestor. Don't know what that means. Model 404, and there's a serial number HM358. Now this one also says HM358, so they are identical pipes. But there is one thing I noticed. See this screw right here, this cover has cracked around the screw. This one, on the other hand, has no cracks. This one is also very scratched up. It's got some deep scratches right here and here, which I can't really fix this stuff because it's chrome and I would have to get it re-chromed. But I'm guessing that this one, under this paint, the chrome is probably fine. I might be wrong, but it's worth a shot. So let's get this thing off, get the paint off, and see what it looks like underneath. It's turning slightly. I really don't want to strip this one out. It's stripped out. It turned a little bit, but well, time for the easy out. Now let's, come on, you can do it. You can do it. It's getting real tight. That's a good sign. Come on. Oh, it's spinning the screw. We got it. Fully expected it to break. There's a nice spider web there for you. Now there's just one more useful thing on this old pipe, which is this rubber mount right here. Nice. Perfectly reusable part. Alright, here we go. Well, guys, it appears that there's actually no chrome on the outside of this at all. It's just steel that has been painted. So, well, that kind of changes things. I'm gonna have to use this one, so let's pull it off and see if we can clean it up. Well, here it is. Hang on a second. Hang on 1 second. Aluminum, I knew it. I thought, actually I didn't know it. I fully thought this was steel. but it is indeed aluminum. And you know what that means? We can fix this. Since this is aluminum, I think I can solder that crack back together. So, little problem. I can see that the solder is just rolling right off of it, which means that the metal is not getting hot enough. I guess let's try a bigger torch. Kind of started to stick there for a minute, but I don't think it's quite good enough. Well, there's all that solder. No matter what I did, that solder would not work that I was using before. It just wouldn't stick to the metal. Every time I got it heated up enough to melt it, it would just like turn into a little ball and roll off. So I changed tactics, and instead I'm using a brazing and welding rod. And this is specifically made for aluminum. Also, I'm using a brazing flux, which is like a dry powder. So let's get the fire burning, and then dip it in the flux, and now it sticks. See if it'll stick to the metal. Let's see what the bottom looks like. Not so good. Definitely way too much solder. I spent about 3 hours on this, and it just keeps melting out, and I can't get it. I ran out of the brazing rods, I used them up, and I'm done with this. But I'm going to change tactics and use this heat shield, which is actually made of steel. It was on the other exhaust I had. I'm going to remove the paint from it, and then I'm going to paint it with this aluminum colored high heat engine paint, which should give me the same end result. I'm going to use this clean stripper to soften up the paint on this heat shield. There we go. Now that will need to sit on there for about 15 minutes. Alright, so it seems like the paint stripper did its job. It definitely softened that paint up. So you can see it's coming off on the rag here. So I'm going to do the rest of it with the angle grinder. So my angle grinder gave up on me. I've replaced the brushes in it a few times, and I don't know, it just stopped working. So I picked up a new one from Harbor Freight. It's a Bauer 8 amp 11,500 RPM, and I've got this twisted wire wheel on here. I've never used one of these, so let's go ahead and test it out. There we go. This thing is definitely better than the other one I was using. Look at that difference. It's already got it down to shiny metal. That other one was not doing that. Wow. I definitely recommend the twisted wire wheel. That thing is gnarly. You got to be careful with it, but it worked really well. Now this thing is basically ready for paint, but there is still some pitting. I'm gonna hit it with a flap sander just to flatten out some of that pitting. Alright, this looks a ton better. There's still a little bit of pitting on here, but I think the paint will fill up the rest of that. Now I'm gonna give it a bit of a wipe with some paint thinner, just to clean any grease, dust, or anything off of it, to get it ready for paint. Make sure the paint adheres properly. Now it's time to paint the heat shield. just a medium light coat to start with. Now I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll hit it with another coat. Now this thing is very clearly full of oil. The only way to clean out the oil from the inside of the exhaust pipe is to burn it out. That's right, we're playing with fire. But before I play with fire, I want to remove the spark arrestor because I want the opposite of that. I want lots of sparks. So let's get this thing off. Looks like it's just one bolt, 2 bolts holding it in. I'm really curious to see what this looks like on the inside. Okay, there's the bolts. It's coming out. What? That's it? Seriously? So then I guess that means the muffler is actually internal, built in? I don't understand. Well, I may as well just put this thing back in then because it doesn't actually take the muffler out. That's what I was trying to do because I don't want to burn up the muffler portion. Okay, so now what I'm going to try to do is to burn all of the carbon buildup in oil out of this exhaust pipe. So what I've done is I've taken a heat gun and taped it with some HVAC tape to a pipe and then taped that pipe inside of the exhaust. I did that to try and keep the flames away from the heat gun. I've watched videos of people doing this online and it looks pretty crazy. A lot of smoke, a lot of flames. I have no idea what's gonna happen. Let's just try this thing out in low heat. We'll leave it on for a few minutes and see what happens. About 10 minutes in, still no flames. Let's see how hot it's getting. Ooh, right at the header, we're getting about 420 degrees. Let's go down the pipe a bit. Oh, it dropped off about 240, 220, 200, and all the way at the tailpipe, we got 200. So it's getting hot. It's getting real hot. We got to be close to some flames here soon. 20 minutes, still no fire, so I am introducing the fire myself. I just turned this thing into a freaking bomb. I thought the torch was lit. I guess it was out. Oh my gosh, that rattled me to my core. Now it is actually working. You ever seen a white flame before? What the heck is going on? It's time for round 2 with this exhaust pipe. This time I'm not messing around. I've got my propane tank with my homemade torch that I made a while back. It fits pretty perfectly in the header pipe right here, so I'm just gonna try and heat this thing up. We gotta burn all the carbon out of this thing. There's a lot of it. I think that's working. the smoking has definitely slowed down. This was definitely not as crazy as some of the other videos I've seen on YouTube. So this pipe must not be that bad inside. Definitely did burn a lot of it out though. So yeah, I'd say this thing's ready to go. I mean, it's just melting the snow and burning the wood that it's sitting on. So it's pretty hot, yeah. Whew, and now it's time to get all the rust off of the exhaust pipe. Gonna have to use this thing for sure. This thing's pretty rough. So let's just get right to work. Time for paint. I'm using this VHT flame-proof paint, good for up to 2,000 degrees. It's flat black, so let's get a nice thin, even coat on here, and then I'll take it inside to dry and do another one. Alright, it's the next day here in my laundry room. This is the warmest room in my house, right next to my furnace. So this is where I put stuff that I painted to dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the heat shield on the exhaust. There we go. Looks pretty good. The exhaust pipe looks pretty good, but it's definitely a little bit more flat than I was hoping for. So I'm going to hit it with this flame-proof satin clear, and hopefully that will gloss things up a bit. We'll see. So I'm going to hit it with another coat, and then probably one more coat, and then I'll probably call it good. Okay, it's been another 10 minutes. It's dry to the touch, so let's give it the final coat of clear. I think it came out pretty dang good. I think it looks pretty original to me. I think it'll look great on the bike, and hopefully it'll get a little extra horsepower by burning that carbon out of the exhaust. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. In the next one I'll probably do the frame, and then we'll just keep rolling along with the restoration. It's going pretty good, and I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Now YouTube is kind of my full-time job right now. I'm trying it out, so if you want to support me and want to help me get the videos coming out faster, then please check out my Patreon and my PayPal, and thank you to my existing Patreon members. If you want to join, I will list your name at the end of every video, or if Patreon's not your thing, you can also support me on PayPal. I'd really appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on another video. Also the notification bell. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.